All right, so this is the key to the worksheet titled Identify Slopes and Y-intercept. And in part A, it says for each linear equation, determine the slope and the y-intercept. No work is needed for these problems. All right, so what the idea here is that for each of those equations, if you want to find the slope and the y-intercept, you want to write this in slope-intercept form. So remember slope. I'm going to put that right here, slope-intercept form. So slope-intercept form looks like this, y equals mx plus b, all right, plus b, so some constant. So the coefficient of x, that's called the slope, and the constant is called the y-intercept. And so notice in part A, you're given an equation with the variables y and x, variables y and x, variables y and x. So if you can get in that form, once you get y by itself, then you automatically know the slope and the y-intercept. The slope is a coefficient of x, and the y-intercept is your constant. So in number one, that the y is already by itself. So right away you know the slope. So notice that I'm multiplying the variable by -3/2. So there's the slope, -3/2. And the y-intercept, b, is your constant, which is a +5. All right, so that's number one. So very easy. If you can write the equation in slope-intercept form, then you easily determine the slope and the y-intercept. Number two, the variable y is not by itself, but you can easily get it by itself. So let me go ahead and put number two right here. So you have -2x plus y equal -3. So if I'm going to get y by itself, I'm going to go ahead and add 2x to both sides. And so when I do that and combine like terms, I get y equals 2x minus 3. So -3 plus 2x is the same thing as saying 2x subtract 3. So now notice I have y by itself, so this is your slope and this is your y-intercept. So the slope is a coefficient of x, so whatever you multiply an x by, so that's 2. And the y-intercept is -3. So make sure you say -3. That's the y-intercept. That's where the graph is going to cross the y-axis at -3. All right, so that's number two. And number three, we're going to do the same thing as we did in number two. We're going to go ahead and solve for y, get y by itself. So let's go ahead and put that here. So I have 3x plus 2y equals 6. So let me go ahead and subtract 3x from both sides first. So when I do that and combine like terms, I get 2y equal -3x plus 6. Okay? Now I'm going to get y by itself, so I'm going to divide both sides by 2, just like this. What you do to one side, you do to the other. And then when you reduce, I'm going to put that right here. When you reduce, you get y equals. Now it's a good idea to write these as two fractions, so that way it looks like two terms here. So I get -3 halves x, -3 halves x. I'm going to put it like this first. So it's this term divided by 2 plus this term divided by 2, right? And so making this look a little bit better, you get -3 halves x, and then 6 divided by 2 is 3. So now you know the slope. So the slope is -3 halves. Slope is -3 halves, and the y-intercept is +3. Okay? All right, so that was letter A. Now in letter B, it says, in part B, it says find the equation of the line in slope-intercept form with the given slope and y-intercept. And you want to write the equation in slope-intercept form. So no work is needed. So just all you got to do is just remember the fact that slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So if you're going to write an equation in slope-intercept form, you must know, there are two things you have to know. You have to know the slope, and you have to know the y-intercept. And in both of these, you do. So for example, in number 4, you're told the slope is -5/3, and the y-intercept is 3. So all you do is just take these values here, m and b, and substitute it into this equation. So your answer is going to be y equals, you must say y equals, all right? So y equals -5/3 x plus 3. So that's the answer to number 4. And number 5, so there's your slope, there's your y-intercept, and do the same thing. So you're going to say y equals 5x minus 3/5. All right, so 5x minus 3/5. And that's it. So there's your answer. So that is the key to this worksheet.